Hi, I'm Sasha. I run a website called Broadway Crafts, and I'm here in conjunction with the Broadway Green Alliance at Playbill to show you how to make Playbill flowers. Example bouquet that I made for the show 6 because at the Broadway Green Alliance, every opening we give a bouquet of Playbill flowers to our volunteer green captain. Today, we're going to learn how to make this style flower. I just call it the pointy flower. It's in the center of most of my bouquets, and I usually either make it with Playbill covers or with cast pages so that you can see the names of the cast members in each corner. Today, I'm going to show you how to make it with cover pages, and we're going to use the design of the Playbill as the corners. If you're going to follow along today, the things that you're going to need are a pair of scissors, some kind of glue. If you don't have hot glue, which is what I usually use at home, you can use regular glue, and I'm going to show you both ways. You're going to need 5 pages of Playbills to use for the petals of the flowers. Again, I like them to look the same so that we can have a cohesive flower, but if you want to use 5 random pages, it's going to be just as beautiful. And then you need some kind of stem. I use wire stems that I get from the craft store, but since those are closed right now, you can get them on Amazon. If you don't want to do that, you can use an extra Playbill page. Sometimes they get a little damaged, and I thought, why not be green since we're here with the Green Alliance, and use this one to make a stem. I'm going to show you the step-by-step process, and if you want to make a full bouquet, either of this kind of flower or of all the types of flowers I make, you can follow along in our future videos, or just make one today, whatever works for you. The first thing you're going to want to do if you're not using a wire stem is make your stem. I have a toothpick here, but you can use a pen or any kind of cylindrical item to form your stem. So I wrap the Playbill around starting at a diagonal corner, and I roll, roll, roll. And you only need the toothpick or whatever it is for a short time. And then you just roll, roll, roll. At this point, if you have a hot glue gun, you're going to want to be really careful because you just want to put a little dab right there, but I'm going to show you how to do it with regular glue. Just take a little dab of glue, put it on the corner, and then because glue does take a second to dry, you're going to want to hold it. I don't mind getting glue on my hands, so I wrap it around a little, and sometimes little bits of glue start to squeak out, but it's actually good because you can rub it around the rest of the stem and it kind of seals it better. You know the old adage, measure twice, cut once? I like to do that with Playbill flowers as well. I look at each of the pages and decide what I want to be the focal point of each petal. So I know I'm going to want the P, the L, so it looks like it's reading Playbill. I want the F and the N, so it looks like it's reading Frozen. And then I want this gorgeous snowflake as well. But I need to know what size to make it. When you're making a Playbill flower versus another type of paper flower, you are locked into the dimensions of the Playbill. The biggest that it can ever be is the width across of the Playbill. So I am going to fold diagonally and make myself a template. When you fold it like this, you know that this is as big as it can be, and then just cut off the bottom and the excess part. You might want to save those because I use those for another type of flower that I make. So if you're going to follow along with all the videos in the series, hang on to these extra pieces. They're going to come in handy later. But for now, we have a square. And now you can use this as your template to make sure when you cut the other petals, they're all identical. I love that because we want them to just look as close to real flowers as possible. So I have the page that I want to use for my L. It doesn't have a crease in the center of it. It doesn't have any wonky edges, and the L will be perfectly visible. That means when I cut the other pages, I have to be really careful. So I need to find the one that has the best section for the P. This one looks best. And again, when you're working with Playbills, you have to work with what you have. They're not all going to be identical. One might have been in your backpack for a long time. One might have been donated to you by an older neighbor who saw shows in the 70s and 80s before you even thought about collecting Playbills. So you just gotta go, all right, I'm gonna cut off this little edge so that it doesn't look wonky. And then I'm gonna take my template and line it up and cut. So now I have the page that I want to use for the P and for the L, but now I got to get my frozen pieces. That means that I have to cut off the Playbill tops. So I'm going to cut off the Playbill tops on 2 of them. And again, you can save those Playbill tops. They make really great accent flowers. That's usually what I use them for. Waste not, want not at the Green Alliance. All right, so the last piece that I want is this corner here. I really love the look of the snowflake in the corner of the flower, so I want to make sure that I get that beautiful snowflake in my flower. It's really fun to do little projects like this that are all theater related but also green, because that's really what the Broadway Green Alliance is all about. We are all about tiny steps that make everything overall greener. The next step, now that you have your 5 pieces, is to fold them. So I'm going to start with the first one that I want. I want this little P to be the focal point corner. So I'm going to fold the Playbill diagonally, and then I'm going to take from the front side, I'm going to take this corner over here and line it up with the top point. It's going to make a diamond shape. You want to pop open this part until it starts to look like that petal, but then press it to meet the other line. And then you're going to do that again on the other side. Flatten those out, and then you're going to take this point and tuck it in against itself. Remember that pocket in the back? We don't want to tuck it into that. We want to tuck it into the front right here. Then you fold this right at that line, meet the other side, do it again over here, and you have your first petal. And then I'm going to do that again with all the other pieces, so I'm going to repeat the process 4 more times. Of course, if you have any questions about how to make these types of flowers, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions. Now it's time to start gluing. You're going to take one of your petals and your glue or a glue gun, whichever you're using, and you want to make a little zigzag along here. And then you're going to take the 2 sides and meet them together. And you're going to hold for a second. Press it down to make sure it's nice and firm. If you have paper clips nearby, you can paper clip the center pieces, and that will hold it while it dries, so you can move on to your next petal. Now I have my 5 petals. So I have this little thing that says play. I love that. And then I have this little side that says bill, and I want them to go together to make Playbill. So I'm gonna do it. So you're gonna take the side of your petal and put a line of glue, and then you're gonna take this other petal and just match corner to corner. Measure twice, cut once, right? Same with gluing. So we're going to decide where we want our next pieces to go. I want the next section to say frozen because I have the fro and the zen, but I need to make sure that it lines up properly. So like that. So I'm gonna put the F next to the bill, glue right here. Boop. And then the next piece, glue along the edge. And now before I put the last petal on, which as we know is the snowflake, I have to add the stem because otherwise it'll be closed up. And I'm gonna take my stem, whichever kind you have, it doesn't matter, and I'm gonna put glue right here in the center to hold that stem. Not all the way up, maybe just halfway up. I'm gonna put glue, and then I'm gonna take my stem and press it into that glue. While that's drying, you don't have to wait for it to dry. You can put glue on both open sides of the petals, just like that, and take your last petal and line it right up with those 2 sides. And then the last piece is making sure that your stem is really securely in. So I always turn it over, go to the bottom, and put a layer of glue right along where the stem and the flower petals meet. Now you have to wait. Once it's dry, you have a flower. And as you can see, it says Playbill, it says Frozen, and I have my snowflake. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these, and thank you so much to Playbill for having me here today. For more information about the Broadway Green Alliance, you can visit broadwaygreen.com, and you can also check me out on Instagram if you want to see more about Playbill flowers. Have a great day, you guys.